Hey guys, welcome back to ESL TV for the EPS Germany Winter 2014 League of Legends Grand Finals. We're into our first semifinal of the day. We have Wolves up against some Faculty, and currently it's a 1-0 lead here from Faculty, and the picks and bans have started. So we'll drop you into game here in just a few seconds, and I'll see how this game is going to break down, because first game seemed pretty easy for the Faculty side.
It did. We saw similar bans this time. Of course, that's a couple of targeted bans. We see Gnar and Orianna this time taken away. Very interesting that the Wolves side know what they don't want to go up against. Obviously fearing, I believe it was Zio on Gnar last game. And of course, Sol's perfect on Orianna in the mid lane. So, see, to me, Orianna felt a little lackluster. We didn't see too much from her, but they obviously felt differently. And so, first pick locked in as Corki. They're going to pick that one up. And I mean, it's such a highly contested ban. And we've seen it first pick or banned away almost every single time.
Yeah, and it seems to be like the new AD carry to kind of go to here, and it looks like we might just see Lucian to kind of go back up against him. And what will the SL pick up? Warwick obviously left open, but felt very, very lackluster in that last game. But anti-hero was insecure for his team here. His Rumble, I mean, it didn't do bad. The problem was he really didn't offer much into that mid to late game. Like, his equalizers left a lot to be desired, like you said before. But he couldn't wave clear. That was the problem. Like, they didn't have strong wave clear because they went with a Draven as a pick.
They did, and looks like we're going to see a couple of different AD carries already. Okay, Crazy Cap's turning away his face away from Draven, looking to the greener pastures of Lucian. And of course, Fiddlesticks, a pick that I have yet to see in the 420 patch. Of course, I know it's quite a strong jungler, highly favored, probably in that top tier junglers. Of course, I think he's one of the few junglers that can actually solo Dragon at level 2, I believe.
I have no idea why it was picked this early.
Oh, I have no idea, no. That makes no sense to me. Unless, of course, they've got something crazy up their sleeves that they're looking to hide, but even then...
But why would they show the fiddle, like, off the bat? It's like, hey, pick a jungler who can counter me.
Yeah.
Like...
Unless it's like a lane fiddle. It's support fiddle, mate. I mean, that's a possibility. Let's keep that in mind. But, of course... I mean, I highly expect it to be a jungle. And we're seeing, once again, Mountain on John, obviously favoring that one in that bot lane.
I would love to see him actually do support Fiddlesticks again.
Support Fiddle? I think it's possible. Maybe as a no, my dreams are shattered as the Braum is hovered over.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, he's like a Lulu, right? If you pick her early, like, you don't know where she's going to go, top, mid, or support. But Fiddle, with the way that, you know, having Rumble locked in, having Thresh locked in, it's going to definitely be a jungle Fiddlesticks. So with Rumble picked on the top side, you can really pick anything right now up against that. Seen Fiora, how about I almost call her Fiona for some reason. But, you know, I'm not really digging the comp. They're so squishy. Look at that. Double, well, it's like pretty much double AP already. They're going to have triple when their mid laner gets locked in. And then they're all squishy. Like, who's their tank? It's the Rumble now, but even last game, the Rumble wasn't that tanky. Yeah. And actually, you know, it'd be funny if we see Zed mid on in Faculty side, if we see Hecarim mid for Wolves. We saw that yesterday in the expansion tournament.
Hecarim mid?
Yeah. This Curse Academy versus Fusion. And Curse Academy used Hecarim middle.
And it worked?
Yeah, worked. Like, he stomped.
I've seen it top lane, and I've seen it work there, so I see no reason why it wouldn't work in the mid lane, and suddenly... Looks like we know what's going where. Zed and Kassadin are locked in for the N Faculty side. So we are going to see two very strong solo laners locked in for the N Faculty side. And I mean, if you were Rumble, who would you rather go up against? I'm not sure.
Probably the Kassadin.
You think? But then with the Magicka shield, I think. But then Zed, oh, it's a tough one. With the lack of mobility, of course, Zed. I mean,
I'd say Kassadin. It's easier for him to deal with them. Like, in terms of how the damage comes out, you have, you know, Zed, who's very, very mobile. Obviously, Kassadin's going to be as well. But when it comes down to, like, how he does damage, Zed has a lot of, like, AoE attacks with his Q and his E, where Kassadin only has his Force Pulse to really do AoE damage with. So Rumble can kind of stay away from the lane, or stay away from the minion wave. And then that way, the Force Pulse will either be used to damage him or the wave, and can kind of control. He can push a lot quicker against a Kassadin. Lissandra picked up. Actually, it's kind of surprising to see not any more Lissandras. Remember back when we were casting, you know, EES, we saw Lissandra almost every single game, and well, now we're going to finally see her come in as a last pick. But look at this comp. They are ridiculously squishy. Like, if Kassadin or Zed get off to an early lead, just say goodbye to the Wolves.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, all of these guys going to snowball crazy. Even the Corki Jana bot lane, we've seen how strong that was previously, and they're not going to change what works for them. Cedrian, or Cedrian. Sorry. Cedrian.
It was like the Bankai, Hexus Bankai.
Oh, that guy. Oh, yeah. So there's like a selection of names, like a handful of player names, which I seem to always struggle to pronounce. But we are going to see the...
You're good at Polish, though.
I can do Polish, yeah, sure.
Polishchini...
Oh, Police Chase, yeah. I'm not going to try it now. I'm going to stick with my English for now. But Zio in that top lane. So he's opting to replace Nar with a cast-in again. That's going to be an interesting matchup to see. As we are going to be jumping straight on into the Rift as those guys load on. Let's highlight what matchups we're expecting to go.
One day, you're going to say we're going to be summoned into the Rift. One day.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm going to get you to say that one day, and I'm going to be so happy.
I'll just see a smile kind of grow on your face.
Grin, bigger than my nose, and that's pretty big.
Okay, so while they summon onto the Rift, let's have a little look what they've got for us in terms of matchups. So this top lane matchup, you're already saying that as a Rumble, you'd probably rather be put up against against a Kassadin out of the two options.
Yeah, you build like a penetration build naturally with Rumble, so it's kind of like, you know, you're gonna build magic. Well, you build an Abyssal, which is magic resist. You know, haunting guys. You can build the Ratha's Crystal Scepter as well, kind of thing. So you're going to get, you know, obviously a lot of health, but you don't want to get a lot of armor. Like Azonia's isn't an item that you necessarily want to build into right away.
It's not particularly favored, as I need to quickly do some magic and make it all beautiful and colorblind mode. Hang on a second, I'm going to wave my magic wand. Ta-da! So, magic done, and we are ready to roll. So let's find out as the awards do come out. We're seeing nothing particularly exciting in the early game, as they're just back and forth in this Dragon Pit. Let's see, look at this. This is just respect. Cedrian just hanging out.
No, it's bait.
I think this is love. Love at first sight.
Dude, Panda just like, he wants his hook. He wants to catch an old big mustached Yordle.
Yeah, and he's got his wacky machine. He's going to be backing away from that one quite safely as the wards continue to be placed down. You can see there's just this line of vision from the Wolves side. Just all the way along. And even in that top side. Zio versus Rumble. So he's trying to make it work. Anti-Hero seems to think this is his best bet. And we'll see if perhaps he's going to surprise us as we go into game number 2. Of course, game number 1 did go in favor of End Faculty, so we'll see if he can inspire any confidence as we go into game number 2. But first of all, of course, the man we're going to keep all our eyes on is Blaulino, as he's going to be taking that first pick Fiddlesticks, and in place of a Warwick from game 1.
So very flash-dependent junglers that he's been running, Warwick and Fiddlesticks here, and it's gonna be very engage-heavy junglers as well. So honestly, he's feeling, he feels very confident to pick these two kind of champions here, especially with what's on the line right now. If they lose this, they're obviously gonna be dropped into the 3rd, 4th place match. But we'll see how the Fiddlesticks works out. It's gonna be very difficult for him, I think, because you have a Caster who can get away, you have a Zed who can get away, you have a Corey who can get away. But it depends whether or not he can get that fear, and if he can get it in time, then you can stop it from backing out. Then you have Lysandra to back you up, but like mid lane is going to be, I think, almost his go-to lane, if not bottom.
Yeah, no doubt about it. As the exchange is going to go on. Of course, this Lysandra Zed lane, of course, is another interesting one. As Lysandra has been described as not, I hate to say the word counter, but I mean, it's one of those champions that has the invulnerability that makes it less of an easy matchup for Zed, of course, kind of alongside Kayle, just being with the ability to ult herself, as well as exerting damage while ulting herself. It makes her pretty tough for Zed to cut through.
This is dirty. Obvious actually going to be ganking onto this top side here with red buff at level 2 here, so he's able to pull this off, and looks like, unfortunately, he will not be able to. But either way, able to force a flash out of Anti-Hero, and then he's going to go back and pick up his blue now. Yeah,
and obvious. Such a presence on the map. It's even at level 2. He's really just looking to guide his lanes into victory. And of course, Fiddlestick does not have that potential. Of course, he can walk into lane if he has taken his fear at level 3. We'll see if that's what he's going to do. In fact, no, opting for a second stack in his E instead. So he's not planning on ganking anytime soon. Yeah, he's not going to gank anytime soon. I mean, I actually highly rate a Fiddlesticks once he's got red buff and he's level 3. If you can get a good position, work your way through wards, you actually got a lot of potential for an early game gank. But
it's really tough. I mean, they nerfed a Sphere a long time ago. Like, the duration on it is just so low at low ranks. But if you're right, if he can get in the right position, and obviously there's no real, strong escape mechanism, which Cashin doesn't have in that top lane, he could pull off a gank there. But right now we can already see Jarvan on the minimap just waiting to go for a counter gank, as he already knows, Fiddlesticks will be headed towards that top side. So also looking for the re-gank on an anti-hero, realizing he has no flash up, and they're trying to bait him in. They're trying to bait the Fiddle as well. When it comes down to 2v2, obviously Zhao should be able to out-damage them.
Xin Zhao? Where did he come from?
Did I say Xin Zhao?
Yeah.
I don't even know what I'm saying
It's a big dude with a sword, I guess that's alright. But in the meantime, yep, you're absolutely spot on. Obvious, just being patient.
Did I really say Xin Zhao?
You did, and oh dearie me, anti-hero could be in trouble. He's pretty safe under that turret though, but he's going to take a beating and a bashing either way. Anyway, as he obviously kind of returns to his jungle, he's of course falling behind a little bit on CS, but that means nothing to him as he's just trying to get Kassadin ahead. As Jason begins to die, slowly but surely. Turn our attention to this mid lane matchup, pretty even as expected. Of course, Lissandra can farm pretty easily as well once she, with the kind of passive and her Q as well, so she can do it relatively safely.
Not to mention, won't really have to worry about mana too much with her passive. Considering what she's up against. Is that based off energy? Ooh, gonna interrupt the back though, gonna stop Lissandra from heading back to base and buying up obviously, and pretty much all tied up in CS in that mid lane. Top lane though, a big difference. Because that flash was blown a little bit earlier on, you can see 33 to 19. And anti-hero is having a very tough time here in this lane.
Yeah, he's not having the best time in that top lane. He's actually going to be forced to recall in the meantime. That bot lane just going pretty steady. Of course, slightly favoring Crazy this time in terms of CS. Cedrian and Mountain just kind of perhaps looking to make a move. You can see low health Lucian. Of course, Panda on Thresh, something I've yet to see. I'm interested to see how he performs on such a support. We saw him on Sona before, and I mean, this is a completely different lane for the Wolves side. They were a sustained, damaging matchup, and not so much this time. Instead, the Lucian Thresh lane is so strong, but it's a step away from what they're used to.
As you can see here, Sejin just trying to farm as much as possible, just trying to keep in the game currently, and let me sit on quite a bit of money here. You can see, obviously, both the AD carriers have yet to buy. It's about 50 CS a piece here. But we're showing that bottom lane. Looks like, obviously, Corki will be heading back here in just a few seconds. And obvious, just going to be able to pick up his red buff, it seems. And just a few when it respawns. But relatively quiet game. I mean, the ES matches we were doing last week, there was kills left and right. And
yeah.
Obviously, with what's at stake here, you don't want to go out, especially for the Wolves. Like, you're forced to play extra safe so you don't get knocked out in game number 2. Because, in fact, you already have that one map lead. And
that's the kind of the beauty, but also the chaos of a best of 3 is, I mean, we saw it before. You were talking about the expansion tournament earlier. I mean, they went, I think it was it Curse Academy? Went 0-2 down. In fact, no, it wasn't Curse Academy, it was Fusion. Fusion went 0-2 down, and then to come back in a best of 5, just imagine, if that was a best of 3, the game would have been over already. And so with this best of 3, of course, it's one of the most popular formats, but it does mean that Wolves really cannot afford to make mistakes, and it kind of represented in their playstyle, as they don't have the breathing room that a best of 5 provides, and instead they have to kind of bring it all and bring it fast. That top lane CS now is getting a little bit crazy. Zio already really leading the CS, and I mean, Kassadin, he's supposed to have a kind of weak laning phase, but he's already reached 6, and that's going to be kind of the time that Zio hits that power spike that we know and love about Kassadin.
Here goes Phil 6 Bobside, look for the gank on a Sejin. The Fear going to come in, the flash as well, and Sejin should go down for this one, and he will fall. He did his flash available though, but he didn't use it, and the hook comes on the mountain towards the turret here. The exhaust coming in as well. This should be another kill.
It certainly is. Crazy Cap's just going to dart away from that one. In the meantime, Anti-Hero just trying to make something happen. But actually, it's the mid lane we should be keeping an eye on. Zed versus Lissandra, they're both burning ultimates left, right, and center, and nothing's going to come of it, as the camera is not having any of it. And that's entirely my fault. But they both back away from that one, as they're going to be looking to pressure on perhaps towards this mid lane. They know there's a low health Lissandra without an ultimate. Obvious is going to make the move. That should be a dead Lissandra. Flash for flash force. The W comes in to root him, but it's just delaying the inevitable. As the claw comes in, and finally the red buff does the final tick that was necessary to bring
that wasn't a red buff. That was her hitting the wolves with her claw and the wolves killing her.
No, it was. Was
Yep.
the Wolves?
Mm-hmm.
The Wolves fighting for in faculty as the Dragon is, of course, secured by Fiddlesticks. Something we're expecting to see in the meantime, though. Looks like Sauce Perfect could be in trouble. The Zed, of course, having that mobility, might be able to get away. Backed up by Mountain, it should be all he needs. He's going to be running away. No, the Flash Fear. This could be do or die for Zed, but the Flash, of course, in response. These Flash for Flash exchanges are going left, right, and not center, as obviously Flash laid away. Nice response from Sauce Perfect with the long-range WQ. Beautiful execution from him, and suddenly in faculty are grouping in this mid, and they've got a potential to move.
They do, so nice little bit of a skirmish going on, netting 2 kills apiece here. Lino going down. Most their kills did happen towards the bottom side here, but in fact, I mean, they lost the Dragon, they pick up 2 kills. Dragon this early isn't that big of a deal. It's going to come down to a little bit later on when that second, maybe third Dragon comes up, if they can at least make sure to secure that one. They cannot afford to lose out on the buff a little bit later on in the game, because if you think about it, you know, 100 AD, which you're going to have at this point, that's 8 extra AD you get. Like that's really nothing in the long run when it comes down to these fights. So honestly, for them, it's not a big loss. Don't really lose out too much gold, and they even things up in kills. You can see the gold difference, about 200, not that big of a deal here. And not to mention top side, you know, Zio's having a very easy time just farming away.
And he's farming pretty much consistently. 81 CS at the around that 10-minute mark, so he's not really had no real pressure applied to him. And that's a problem. We know the power that Castin has.
Yeah, well, I went back to look at it. It was, in fact, Wolves that killed Lissandra.
Oh, dear.
Her claw hit the big one, and then it was like, chomp.
Just kind of had a nibble on the Ice Witch. In the meantime, Vision being cleared out by Blalino. Fiddlesticks, of course. I mean, I'm looking at his build, and I'm interested to see where he's going to take this. Of course, opting for the Trailblazer, as well as Jarvan, both of them opting to do that. And the enchantment remains to be seen. Of course, I can only assume it's going to be the ability power one.
Well, yeah, it definitely needs the Trailblazer just for the fact of he has really terrible wave clear. So when it comes to the jungle, he needs to be able to AoE smite, obviously stunned by a little bit more time. Plus the Crowstorm, sorry, his Dark Wind, so he can actually be a little bit quicker in the jungle, which, as you can see, he's definitely going to need. But a little push from the military coming in. Agasaya and Blalino going to be going for that one. And in the meantime, he's actually going to go head into the jungle here. Maybe looking for a little bit of a counter towards red, if it can happen. In terms of items, you see the Brutalizer picked up here for Sauce Perfect. And it looks like he's going into a Bilgewater Cutlass next, which he's desperately going to need. That Bilgewater Cutlass plus the Blade of the Rune King when he finishes that is going to be amplified by the damage off of his ultimate.
No doubt that that is going to be a deadly item combo. I mean, the Brutalizer initially just gives him the armor pen, and also because it's pretty much a standard Zed item ever since Zed's just a kind of cheap amount of a cheaper, quick format of AD. As well as, of course, that little bit of cooldown reduction as well. In the meantime, though, as I try and navigate, you can see Akeso and Sauce Perfect just hanging out in this mid lane, both almost entirely equal on CS, 90 for 90. And we said that this matchup was going to go even, and it has done just that. Akeso just getting that safe recall as he's got some money in the bank. In fact, how much exactly is about 1,200. So we'll see. That's going to be the Morello's completed, and that's going to be, I mean, that's no surprise. This seems to be very much a favored item for the AP mages.
We might see a second one, actually. I wouldn't be
we did,
unless they did, like, hot fix it. Let me see.
It provides the 40% CDR so quickly.
No, they didn't. So it's still a 20% cooldown reduction. So yeah, so he's going to have the 40% CDR if he wants to go for both of them. And on Lissandra, that's going to be desperately needed when it comes to spamming your abilities, well, obviously, and coming down to that ultimate to re-engage for these fights, because that's what they're going to want. Him and Fiddlesticks to have, really low cooldown reduction so they can constantly fight over and over again and have those ultimates, fears, drains, silences, snares, everything they could possibly hope for coming into these fights. As we can see, has 115 to 76 in the top lane. And one thing that Castin's really benefiting from is the fact that, Rumble, melee champion. He's a mage, but he's melee, and that allows Castin to get a lot of farm time in here. And he doesn't really take too much because of the shield that he has up against Rumble either. So, a nice little bit of lead. Rod of Age is now done. He's going to start to get inherently tanky from that one. And, I fear for Fiddlesticks and I fear for, Lucian. Like, obviously their team has an insane amount of damage behind him. Mostly ability power. They're not that tanky, but if they can, just get on top of one person, that person will die. Like, there's just no way you're going to escape that. The fear leading up everything, plus the Lissandra ultimate. So they're hoping for that wombo combo of bursting one person down. Whether or not they can execute it correctly, or whether or not, in fact, he can let them execute it correctly is the real question. The
question we're going to be seeing an answer to pretty soon. Of course, reaching that 13-minute mark means that we're going to be seeing the Drake in about 60 seconds or so. Interesting to see. You really highlighted that, yes, 8% AD and AP may not be that much at this stage in the game, but they cannot afford to let those Dragons continue to go Wolves' way. And so, as the Infinity Edge is picked up for Lucian, and all the shopping is done as fast as possible, they're going to be looking to make their way towards this Drake, because they know 50-second thing to clear out vision. Shaw's Perfect has just started as they mean to go on, and they're just grouping mid, trying to apply some pressure anywhere they can, and try and perhaps force a fight.
And the problem comes into this is that now Crazy Caps has Infinity Edge done, whereas, you know, opponent, his counterpart Cedrian, doesn't have his Triforce done. So he has that big power spike that unfortunately the AD carry of Infaculty will not have. And you pair on the rest of their CC, like this should be an easy fight for Wolves. Like they thrive in the mid game right now. And if they don't have enough wards down to spot out where Fiddlesticks is coming from, then they will get punished very, very heavily.
We'll see where that punishment's going to be coming from at the moment. They're still dancing around this mid lane. Dragon going to be kind of showing his weary head in just 10 seconds. The hook does connect though, and Shaw's Perfect could be in trouble. He's not going to be though. There's no damage to follow up onto Panda's hook. And this mid turret is going to be taking a beating, but here comes Fiddle.
Gets ultimate off, but Cedric gets locked out as well from the Sandra ultimate, but he's being kept alive by Mountain's healing, and he's not going to go down for this one. Ignite going to be used, and he will eventually fall to Blaulino from a Dark Wind in that one, but either way, it's so far a 1-for-1 trade with Panda going down, Zio joining the party with this teleport, Eagle-Eyes are coming down, hitting pretty much nothing. But now here comes Crazy Caps, and with that Infinity Edge done, forcing them back here, anti-hero charging straight into him as well. And we're seeing that Wolves, they easily should be able to win out in these fights. Now, it took them so damn much, so many ultimates to kill Cedrian, but luckily, just barely at the end of things, they were able to kill him.
And it's almost embarrassing to see these equalizers fall. Every single time there seems to be a team fight, the team fight happens, and then anti-hero turns up with an equalizer. It's very much kind of lackluster performance from him, but the Dragon is going over, but I think Zio's going to have something to say about that. He's trying to make a move, as is his team. There's 4-4. That Dragon is going relatively low, though.
He's down to 2,000 HP. So start doing damage to the team, though, and Blaulino obviously going to be able to heal up. And it's like, in fact, he's going to get this one up here. So that's a second stack now coming in for Wolves. Don't want to fight and give up any more kills that they need to. And they obviously know that Sandra is now back here to the party. But still, you can't really afford to give up this many Dragons now. I mean, yeah, we're 16 minutes in, 3-3 in kills. We're down about 1,000 gold, though.
Yeah, and this is kind of the time for Infaculty to make a move. They know Fiddle hasn't got an ult, Lissandra hasn't got an ult. In fact, Queso hasn't even got a flash. So this is the time to really make a move for that mid turret. Instead, they're looking to back away. We're going to see a couple of buffs headed over. I think that's going to be given towards Zed. And they're going to go back to these kind of messy lanes that now, I mean, the advantage is in Wolves' side. Slightly. I mean, it's 1,000 gold. They have a turret on them as well as 2 Drakes, but those 2 Drakes are going to start stacking up, and I think Infaculty, this comp isn't working as well for them as it did, as their previous comp in Game 1.
We have to keep in mind, I mean, this is the mid game, right? This is exactly where Wolves are going to thrive, when you have triple AP pretty much. So this is their moment to pick up a big lead. And when we move into that late game, where Cassidy is, really tanky, has a lot of damage, and Shaw's Perfect does as well, where he can one-shot, Crazy Caps. And that's when things become really troublesome for Wolves. So if they want to win, they need to build up a bigger lead than this, or at least keep this lead snowballing into the later stages of this mid game. And you're already seeing Zio completely zone away anti-hero on this top side, and right now Wolves, and Faculty aren't out of this at all. But if Wolves don't snowball this game a little bit harder and a little bit faster, then they could be in some real trouble.
Yeah, no doubt about it. There is going to be it's going to be issues with Wolves if that clock starts looking towards the 30, 40, even 50 minute mark. But this is kind of the Wolves' time to shine. And all we're seeing at the moment is just they're allowing Zio to completely free farm as a Kassadin. That is just, that's 101. League of Legends 101. Do not let Kassadin get fed. And he's doing just that, just nomming on all the minions he can as this mid turret is being pressured by the Wolves side. And they're going to be getting away with this one. As it falls, we can see that Infaculty quite happy to see that one go. They don't seem to be looking to force anything. They haven't really got the resources to force anything. And instead, we're just going to see more vision control provided by Blaulino.
Oh, Blaulino might get caught though. He does have flash, but he's not even going to escape that. And that right there shows you how damn squishy he is. He tried to build into a Zonia, Cedric getting caught with the hook.
And nothing's going to come of that one. Oh, it's maybe a bit too soon. Obvious. Trying to do something. Exhaust onto him. He's going low. In fact, he's gone so low. He's gone out of the map. Another one falls as well. Shaw's Perfect trying to do something. He's actually ulting in a kind of defensive maneuver, trying to do something. But Lucian says no. Gets another. The equalizer's good for once. And now Mounted is surely going to go as well. The flames are a little too hot for him as he falls. And it's a 4-for-1 exchange. Blaulino laughing as it seems to have gone pretty well for them.
They didn't even commit that many ultimates on the Blau. I think they committed a single one, and yet they killed him, and yet the rest of the team was able to just completely snowball that fight and win it out. We have now Lucian at 3-0 and 3. Has Infinity Edge. He almost has his stack Shiv now done. They're able to push down a middle turret. They're able to push down the second one most likely here. Cedrin can't wave clear these minions as he doesn't really have enough mana for rockets constantly. And Wolves, and again, this is the time for them to shine. This is their snowball. And Faculty, they're still not out of it just yet, but if they keep letting fights like that happen, if they completely lose out on it, then they won't really be around much longer in this game. We might be looking at map number 3.
Yeah, I think you're right. You said this is their time to shine, and they're doing just that. Wolves stepping up. 28,000 now to just 25, so 3,000 gold leads. Pretty similar to what we saw actually in Faculty's court in Game 1. And I did see a hungry Zed making a move, but I don't think he's going to be quite being able to reach Lucian in time. Instead, just going to take the wave as farming continues. Talking of CS, of course, we see 160 for Lissandra to 150. Soz Perfect on Zed. And that top lane, the biggest discrepancy can be seen, 180 to just 112. And I mean, that you talked about the zoning before. And I mean, Zeo, all he has to do is just walk towards the Rumble, and Antihero has to back away. But looks like that may be changing, as of course he has completed the Andries now. Overheats though in the process, and you can see the damage Zeo can exert onto Antihero.
And it's only going to get worse. Like, Zeo's only going to get more and more damage. He's only sitting on about 800 gold right now. But when he builds up, whether or not he wants to go hunting guys, or he wants to go Void Staff, or even a little bit of CDR with that Amp Tomb, it's going to be very tough to still deal with him. Like, there's so many targets. Actually, in the meantime, top lane, we do see Crazy just completely getting destroyed. But, you know, when it comes down to who you're going to fear, there's so many targets on the Wolf side that you have to go for. You know, Zio needs to be dealt with, Perp needs to be dealt with, Cedrin as well. That it's going to be hard to just burst all of them down at once, and Antihero just completely dove on a turret, and Zio just easily able to tank that one up. But that just kind of shows that, you know, Factory not out of it just yet. They still have a response for this. They still have, you know, a game plan. It's just we're not dragging it out long enough to make it last. And
yeah, there's obviously some chinks in their armor. You can see that they may have a lead, but there's a couple of individuals on the Faculty side that are just going to keep getting bigger. And how much gold is he currently sat on? 1,500 for Zio. He's going to be going back and extending his items once more. In fact, he's going to be taking a turret before he goes back as well. So more gold in the bank for Faculty. That's how much you're going to level out the gold quite nicely. 30,000 to 31. So chopping that in half from when we last took stock.
That's how quickly the lead that Wolves had can turn. Like, yeah, they had a lead, but it wasn't that big. Like, it wasn't insurmountable. And now, in Faculty, able to get a little bit of steam, a little bit of a snowball going on. You see Zed now at 3-1. You have now Jarvan at 3-1. But the real point that they're lacking on, the real thing they're lacking on, is their AD carry. Cedrin at 0-2, and he's behind by 30 farm. Like, he needs a little bit of help here, maybe a kill or two, to really kind of get going. Because if you look at, you know, the compositions, the other team not going to have that much armor to go up against him, but they'll have a lot of magic resist eventually.
Eventually, exactly. Talking about that late game, we'll see if they get there. As I mean, it's kind of make or break. The dragon is up, and it looks like Wolves are going to be making a move for it. And Faculty need to stop this one. Of course, 2 stacks already. That third one is going to be deadly. 5% movement speed across the board would put Wolves in pretty good stead. The pink is down. They know there's going to be vision, but I don't think there's anything that the enemy team can really do about it. Obviously, he's going to try, though. He can't quite make it happen. He's going to have to get out of this one. I don't think he's going to be able to flash it. He hasn't got a flash, and he's just going to have to go down and realize his mistake as it is punished by the Wolves side. And now the Wolves looking rabid. They're going to be trying to make a move towards this mid lane as that extra bit of movement speed puts them in pretty good stead, but I don't know if they're going to kind of immediately push or perhaps wait for Lissandra, who's actually making a way for that top lane.
Well, the problem with that fight is that you can't face check into a Fiddlesticks. Like, you can't face check into a Nunu. They didn't have vision around Dragon, and if you were to walk in, there's a team completely blind, Fiddlesticks just ults you, your entire team, and you'll get completely wiped out. So yeah, they lose one man for trying to steal away the Dragon, but they needed better vision control to really kind of maintain something. Like, this is the point of the game, 22 minutes in, where that first Dragon really would have given them a lot of stats that they needed. And now they give away the 5% movement speed. Obviously, Wolves now 1 away from getting the extra damage to turrets. And when it comes to sieging, they're not a team to siege. Wolves have a team to dive with Lissandra, the Fiddlesticks, and the Rumble. So if they're going to go for any turret damage, it's going to be after fight anyway. So the 4th drag really not going to mean as much to them.
Not going to mean half as much, but as we saw the exchange in mid, it actually looks like Zio is actually going to be taking quite a bit of damage. Here comes the hook. This is going to be hook, line, and not sinker. The flash comes in, the equalizer does as well, but nothing's going to quite connect, and Zio was casting is a slippery critter, and he gets away from that one with that Rift Warp flash.
able to back away, able to commit a lot out of the side of the Wolves here. I mean, the equalizer down is huge, not to mention the flashes that they kind of committed as well. But as you can see, yeah, the culling, a big one for wave clear, as you're going to see here. But either way, I mean, in faculty, they need more vision on their own jungle. They can't, like, I can't express this enough. They cannot let vision control slip, or Blaulino will just have a field day with his ultimates.
It's true, and I mean, we've seen the power of Fiddlesticks across the board, and here comes an ultimate right now. Black and Ola just going to use it to clear the wave. And I mean, we were talking about wasted ultimates. That doesn't seem like a particularly wise move for me. I mean, what was the point? Why did they? What was the point of that?
They had a ward to right to the south right there. They knew exactly where the other team was. I'm not sure if that was a misclick on his part, or if he really just... Oh, okay, wait. Okay, I think he wanted the wave because he wanted to get his Zhonya's, which he's going to need for these fights. He's at 1900 gold, 2000 right now, so I think he just wanted to clear it really quickly. The cooldown isn't that long on Crowstorm anymore, and he should be able to go back and buy it up here in just a few seconds.
Smart. Okay, so he basically needed that item. He knew that the next team fight was going to be a big one, and so opting to just complete that item as quickly as possible. And he's going to be going back to buy that now.
Yeah, I mean, there's no objectives to fight over.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. So. I mean, look at the cooldown. It's almost already up. So actually, not too bad of a decision after some very strong analysis from Jason there.
I had to like think of a reason.
You were kind of racking your brain like
there
was a reason. Dollar. So.
Dollar bills, y'all.
As they start to build up their items, you can see the inventory starting to get pretty heavily stacked. Gaston has come back with some AP, got the large rod in there as well. And so he's going to be having a bit more of a bite to his bark.
Yeah, he's working up towards his Zhonya's as well. It's like there's going to be so many golden champions in these fights. It's going to be so much fun to see exactly when they're used, because it's going to be very, very hard to time it strategically. I mean, you can't Zhonya's through a fear, but if you fear before the... If he's zoned before the fear comes down, then it's just this whole mind game kind of thing here. And again, Fiddle only has one target he can really fear, only really CC. Obviously, the silence is going to be a huge factor when it comes to these fights. But I'm waiting to see Mountain if he gets his Mikhail's done soon, relatively soon to help out, or if he's going to go into that shield.
Yeah, we'll see what he's going to kind of opt for. Of course, these guys getting kind of pretty close to the 15-16 mark where they're going to get that final charge of their ultimate.
Yeah, we're about to hit a breaking point soon.
Yeah, there's going to be something. There's going to be a lot of damage. Of course, both teams really cautious to control these waves as well. They cannot really afford to have another turret go down. Currently sound 3 for 2, favoring N Faculty. And the gold, not so much. Slight lead, still around that kind of 2,000, 1,500 mark, favoring Wolves. And it shows that, I mean, the team with one less turret has more gold, and that shows the power of farming and also the power of kind of controlling this Drake. Of course, looks like Crazy having none of it. He's going to be backing away to this bot lane. Looks like Zio and his buddy, obviously, just going to hang out. His name's obvious, not obviously. As he's just going to back away to perhaps make a move for vision control around Drake. Look at the dragon. There is literally 0 wards on either side there.
Yeah, but I mean they have positioning on it, so they're going to be able to ward up right now, and as actually they're going to be doing that here on top of that. But you know, one thing we should keep in mind, the gold difference, it's about 1,000 right now, right? But imagine how much bigger it would be if Antihero wasn't this far behind CS. Like, it would be over 2K. And that would definitely start to be reflected in items a little bit more. I mean, he's still working towards his Zhonya's, but he's at 800 gold. All he has is that Seeker's Arm Guard done, and he has less items than his jungler. Like, that's how bad of a game he's been having in this one, unfortunately. And this Dragon's going to be a huge one here for a Faculty. They need to secure this one. It's not that big of a deal for Wolves, but still, denying that objective from the other side is going to be more than beneficial to him.
And it's going to be bad news for Panda. He's been caught out. He's going to go down. The Equalizer does rain in, though, as does Fiddlesticks, and the Crow is bouncing and doing a huge amount of damage. Mountain, strong ultimate to peel away from this one. And Janna doing what Janna does best, just going to back away from this fight and make sure her teammates get away safe and sound as well. Zio has been caught out a little bit, though. He's kind of been left in the dark. He's actually going to be looking to put on a little bit of interruption onto Antihero. Are they going to go into this one? It looks like Akeso has other plans. He's going in. The exhaust is onto him, though, ticking away. Obvious gets away with that one as Faculty are looking to push onto this one. Crazy Caps is in trouble. Flash for flash exchange. 1 rocket is all it's going to take. Actually, Kassadin taking that one now. A 2 for 2. The first Zhonya's is burst. And 3 for 2 in terms of players. But it looks like Fiddle has forced his one. Antihero gets his, but Golden Man is going to get punished as soon as he emerges and the final one falls. It's a 4 for 2 exchange as Soz Perfect just sits in that top lane, pressuring that in here. But that...
Yeah, you realize Zed wasn't there, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's a
4-on-5 fight, and they're able to come out ahead in that one. And they're getting a hip turret off this, and they got tier 2 turret top side. Like, they just got so much money off of that, and Now he's actually going in onto Panda here, 1v1, looking for the kill here, and should be able to pick it up. Panda will get exploded, and Dragon being picked up on top of that. A huge win here for Faculty, and that was just so well done. In the end of things, and I have to go back and actually show one little bit of a misplay that could have changed how that fight went here. I'm going to just go and switch over to my screen, switch in the audio really quickly as well. I want you to watch Blaulino, and I want you to watch what he does. So, look how close together they are, right? So he's sitting here. He has all of his cooldowns up, right? So he's going to fear Cedrian, but he Dark Winds right away. He doesn't wait till Zio comes out of it, and the Dark Wind would have killed both of them and not allowed Zio to get away. And they would have turned that fight. Like, they easily would have been killed, obvious, and that would have been a one fight for them, but he uses Dark Wind just a little bit too early. And from that, they lose the fight, they lose Dragon, and now they're very, very far behind. And
that, my friends, is the power of Jason Kaplan. I think I bet Blaulino hasn't even got a clue.
It's like I've been catching this game for like 2 years and was doing LCS at one point. Oh, look at Zio getting caught up.
Oh, dearie me, you could be in trouble, but look at the damage he can exert. Surely that's going to be a dead Lissandra. It is. Just delaying the inevitable, going golden, wasting another cooldown before he goes down. In fact, no, trying to play the time, and looks like Blaulino is going to try and get some avenging kills. Looks like the TP was wasted, though, in the meantime. It's a 1-for-1 exchange, and now Perfect looking to do what he does best in that bot lane.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't understand why Zio went back in for that one. Like, he knew Setri was going to kill, and yet he got really greedy. And that did cost him his life, obviously. And either way, Souls Perfect's had a strong game so far. Got the top inhibitor down. The inhibitor is available. So the top inhibitor turret down, and the inhibitor is available. But this can be a tough game for Wolves. Now they need to clean up the vision like that. I stressed the vision control out of Faculty a little bit earlier on, but now Wolves need to have it themselves. They need to have the vision denial to allow Blaulino to get in. But the problem comes into this of, if he gets ulted away by Mountain, then his ultimate's completely mitigated, which it can be. Only problem is, if he Zonias at the right time, he can dodge it and still be exerting as much damage as he possibly can. So it's going to come down to whether or not he's quick enough on the reaction.
Yeah, and looks like reactions aren't going to be fast enough for Lissandra, trying to perhaps catch out Zed in that bot lane. But nothing coming of it. As poke comes in from Perfect. He's playing this Zed game pretty nicely. He sat on a quite handsome 4-for-1, in contrast to the 2-for-3 of a case. Of course, a few more assists there, so working well as a team. And you can see the third Zonius is now being completed. That is a lot of Zonius. We were talking about it before. There's potential to see 4 in the same period of time. But it looks like Lucian has been removed from the map in the meantime. And all said and done, this is going to be 40 seconds where there's a lot of pushing power in the side of Faculty. They're going to do just that. They're making them move for that mid turret. And Wolves, they haven't really got the power to fight this one off. They have the Lissandra and the Fiddle ult, but look, it's been forced already. Zio just laughing in the face of danger as he's looking for a second one, as Panda is surely going to go down. He does to Corki. And now with 3 men down, they're going to be making a move for this in-hit.
So you saw Zio, he hopped in, did damage to Lissandra, popped his Zonius so he couldn't be ulted, and then by the time his Zonius was back off cooldown, or off out of the golden zone, then he could hop away again. Like, that's what exactly he's doing, and they have such a stronger pit comp than the Wolves do, and the Wolves are so dependent on being able to fight as a team, and yet they're not staying grouped up. And now they lose 2 inhibitors from this one, they're potentially going to lose Baron, and Zed is still split pushing, do what Zed does best.
Yeah, Perfect, just trying to do a little bit more damage to that turret. Not going to quite be able to take this one away as another equalizer falls and doesn't connect. Anti-hero, what are you doing? Really struggling to make anything happen on Rumble. And I mean, the fact that he's picked this a second time means he knows, or at least he thinks, that he can make this this champion work for his team. But we've seen very uninspiring play from him so far.
It's like hearing Red Eye try to play Master Yi.
It's 54,000 gold to 47,000. The gold lead is firmly in the hands of Faculty now. I mean, this seems to be a slight repeat of game number 1, where we saw a very, very strong start from Wolves. This is actually, I'd probably say, a stronger start than game 1.
Easily,
and Faculty, yeah, and in Faculty, all they've done is just play it to the time limit. They know, right, okay, come 30 minutes, we're the stronger team. They've got a better comp, you've said it already, and they're doing just that. Looks like Wolves have got a plan, though, as they have that benefit of smiting the Raptors. So they know there's an Oracles, and they know there's no wards around them, but instead opting to recall as they realise there's a big stomping group of blue and Faculty players heading towards that bot lane.
Yeah, they don't even need to go for Baron. Like, what's the point right now? Like, they can just continue to push, and they Superman's pushing top, pushing middle here, and they can just group up bottom side and just slowly work their way. And that turret's already very low on HP as well. And it's just a matter of time. Like, Wolves, they have to go for the engage over the wall here. They have to fight in this one, and they have to keep the minion wave from actually getting past the top. Well, what is it called? Getting through the stairs, because then they can obviously spot where Blaulino is going to be. Like, they're going to engage over the wall. They have to. And even Lissandra trying to get on that bottom side, but again, not really able to make much work. just a matter of time. Zed's off split pushing, Kaz off split pushing, and they have Janna to disengage.
We were talking about this. We're talking about kind of the meta of Baron. They haven't even got Baron, but they're doing that 3-1-1 split we were discussing. Anti-hero, he's gone low. Forced to Zhonya's ears there just to finish the job. As soon as he gets out, and he just disappears. Evaporates. Fiddle trying to do something, though. Janna says no, as Akeso is exhausted. He's not being able to do too much damage, but Obvious trying to get his Cataclysm off before he falls. There's a lot of low health bars there, and Perfect trying to make the most of them. He's already taken down one. Lucian down and out now, and he's looking for a second on to Panda. Panda soon to be extinct as he goes down, and now Blaulino as the GG goes in. And it looks like then Faculty have wrapped this one up in 2.
Yeah, it looks like they'll be able to secure themselves a win here in the semifinals and advance on, obviously, into the grand finals to play against the winner of Crowd Control and Playing Ducks. Well deserved by them. Very well executed. Again, they didn't really show anything too sneaky or anything that was out of the ordinary in this game, and they completely just held them long enough to win it. And that really worries me coming into the expansion tournament. If they can be this strong in the late game, how strong are they in the early game when they actually do decide to try?
Well, that does sound a little unfair. I think they certainly did try. There was no doubt about that.
Well, they didn't show anything.
Oh, yeah,
they played so standard in the beginning of the game. There was no sneaky ganks. There was nothing that was exceptional. They didn't pull out anything that was crazy champion-wise. Like, I think they have a lot to show early game, but then they prove like they can still play like a very standard game and hold on long enough to the point where they know they really power spike up and just completely walk over you. Like, they realized where the enemy team was going to be weak and just capitalized off it.
Yeah, I think definitely exposing weaknesses and then kind of profiting from them. Certainly something they were doing fantastically. But, I mean, Wolves should be happy with something. There's something to take away from that. They certainly can kind of realize that that comp wasn't as bad as their first game comp. I think the Fiddle-Lissandra combination was incredibly strong, especially the kind of potential that it showed for teamfights. Build-wise, I think Akeso maybe made a mistake going for that Deathfire Grasp. I think Assassination, Lissandra perhaps trying to kind of be the Zed of the team just didn't quite work out. I think he needed to focus purely on kind of survivability and teamfight potential, and I mean, it didn't quite go in his favor. Of course, we aren't these German people you can see on your screen. We'll shortly be showing my face.
Or are we?
Or are we? In fact, yeah, this is actually strange dubbing. This is actually what I look like. This is, I'm the man talking right now. You can see my lovely navy shirt. And here I am. Oh, and these are the German guys. Our audio just syncs up perfectly.
The navy shirt's more handsome.
The other guy. But that one comes to a close, and we can safely say End Faculty showing some of their power there. They're not all. You've already highlighted that these guys have probably got some things up their sleeve that they're not going to want to show. And well, until they need to. I think obviously you said that you highlighted the expansion tournament as a potential for them, and I mean they're going to be doing their very best to not show all these magical things they've got up their sleeve until then. But I mean, it'll be interesting to see if another team can force it out of them early.
I don't think they'll do it.
Even
if they're forced, like think about it.
Okay,
it's 2,500 euros or way over that per person every month for the entire split. Like, there's no way I think at all they will ever show any of their strategies when it comes to this. Like, you have prize on the line, but you have it's like playing a minor league game before playing in the World Series.
Yeah,
you know,
okay.
it's like.
It's like all it is just a little kind of trial, little battleground for them to kind of.
It's a morale boost for them. It's like let's win this, play standard. You know, maybe we can, figure a couple of kinks. Maybe a little practice.
Do I say that? Yeah, I was going to say. Are they practicing things here? Is this like kind of an advanced scrim?
I don't know if a team will challenge them away, an LCS team that they've been practicing against will challenge them. I'm assuming they've been playing against, LCS teams. Practicing, getting ready for the expansion tournament, so it's going to come kind of down to that. But in the meantime, guys, we're going to head to a quick little break here, but when we come back, we'll be kicking off our second semifinal of the day. It's Crowd Control up against Playing Ducks, and we'll see you guys in a few.